Hello. See, I guess everyone's there. Looks like some of you are still coming in. It's 11 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Angela McAfee with SEO Rocket. I hope you guys are all there and you can see me. It looks like you can, so good to know. I am here today along with Tom Veltri with SEO Rocket also. Yes, Tom is here and he is going to be here along with me today showing you technical readiness for your website. We are talking today about building your own digital marketing strategy. We get a lot of questions about this. It doesn't matter what size business you are. It's always important to do that, to create a plan, plan your work, and work your plan, right? So we have been in business, SEO Rocket, as a digital marketing agency for about 20 years, and we work with hundreds of clients. And every situation, every need, every business is always different. So we've actually in this time created a streamlined process that we really like to use to get to the heart of your needs, and also put that plan together for you so that it's custom. But today we're going to let you get a sneak peek behind the curtain, and we're going to walk you through that so you can either use it for yourself or understand it better. So we have an hour today, not an entire semester, which is what we probably really need. So I'm going to break this down and go ahead and get started here, all right? Okay, so Tom and I are going to talk to you about all these different moving parts. First of all is preparing for your strategy. Now, we tend to ask a lot of upfront questions of our clients. When people get started, they're very excited and they're very anxious, and they really want to just make this thing happen, and so do we. But you always have to kind of slow down in order to speed up to make it happen, all right? So this is a time where we say, okay, let's just chill. Let's ask a lot of questions. There's a reason, there's a method to the madness there. We're gonna ask you a lot of questions and ask you to ask yourself a lot of questions, all right? So step one, the stakeholder. This is the first question. This is your who. Is it you or is it someone else? Who do you need to engage in the early stages of your planning to understand the value of all your marketing efforts, why you're doing it? If you're an owner operator, it could be me, myself, and I, right? It could just be you. If you're a marketing manager, it could be your department heads or your some chief executive. It could be anyone, but it definitely, trust me, it's very important that all the stakeholders, anyone who has some kind of input on your budget or your timeline or the goals that you're trying to achieve with any marketing plan that you put together, it's super important that they be involved from day one, so that they understand the absolute value of these things, okay? We don't want someone to come in later after you put all this work in and planning and say, no, we're not going to do that. That's not important, or they'll poo-poo it, or put the brakes on it, or whatever. We really don't want that to happen. We want everyone to be involved so they have a stake in it and they understand. So very important to do this. I will say what we're finding in sort of the new economy, dare I say new normal, we're seeing a lot of businesses, as we all go through phases of opening and closing and reopening, etc., having some hesitancy and a little bit of analysis paralysis, and a little bit of everyone wants to be the chief financial officer. So you may want to kind of take the temperature on that and see who all really needs to be involved and really wants to be involved, and what's involved in being involved. and so that you get all of those voices at the table heard, and so they can hear all the information that is planned along the way that we're going to talk about as we go through today's hour. Trust us, you want to have that person informed. Step 2 is your need. Okay, this is your why. And we tend to break these into 3 I's, but think about this. Do your struggles, maybe your struggles sound something like, your marketing struggles may sound something like, hey, we built this beautiful SEO friendly website, we spent all this money on it, but it gets like 0, no traffic, right? You don't want that. That could probably be an optimization issue for you, or our traffic counts are really high, yet there are no sales coming in. So maybe your targeting is off. Whether it's your paid search targeting, your SEO targeting, your email targeting, maybe your targeting is off. Or say, hey man, my sales team, they are not getting any leads from this website. It's just useless, right? It's useless. Okay, so maybe your messaging is a mess. Okay, it could be your messaging. It could also be the targeting, optimization. It could be a combination. Who knows? But this is where the need here is where we want you to slow down and take a look at the whys, the reason why you really want to embark on a new digital marketing plan for yourself. And we break these down further into the 3 I's, okay? First being your issue. What is the most important thing that you need your website to do, okay, or do more of? It could be phone calls, it could be, contact form fill outs. It can be, that may be considered a lead for you. It could be, if it's branding, it could be, hey, we want them to spend more time on the site. If you're e-com, it could be more sales, hard sales. What does that look like for you? You really ask yourself that. Next is the impact. What impact is this having on your business? Are your sales slow? Is your visibility a wreck? Is your growth rate not as fast as you would like for it to be? You're looking to open a new location or something and you need more growth. What could it be? Hey, or you just need to make payroll. Like, what is it? What impact is this having on your business right now? And then how important is it to get this fixed? Is this a major or minor issue? Once again, making payroll, major issue. Minor issue, we want to put new furniture in the lobby. Who knows, okay? But just think about those things, because this is telling you why you're actually embarking on this digital marketing plan, why this is important to you and you need to do it. It also helps you get buy-in from those decision makers also. This is why we have to do this. So that's step 2. Keep those things in mind. Step 3, these are your actual goals. Like, okay, this is your where, and your when, your actual goals. Why are we doing this? We say we have these needs, and we've gone through the impact and the importance and the issue and all that. So let's make sure that we know when we get there. So what does that mean to us? Let's put together what we call SMART goals. This is actually, I work with our clients and our prospects on this all the time. It's hard. It's simple, but it's not easy, okay? I'll be honest with you. It's hard to do. And I get in trouble with my coworkers and my team if I don't come back with answers here. So go ahead and get these answers for yourself. And I'm going to help you break it down here. We like to use what we call SMART goals, okay? SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, which means they make sense to your business, and time bound. If any of you have done any, business development work, you probably have come across this term before. Basically, it's saying, okay, look, we need to know that we've succeeded when we have. So how will we know that? So let's put together a specific goal so we know. Here's an example. Let's say you're doing an organic SEO campaign, right? And right now you have 20 contact form submissions coming out of your site every month. Your site, you're tracking it, you can see, you know, through your Google Analytics or whatever, that you are getting 20 contact form submissions a month. Okay, that's where you're starting. But you want to go to 27. Okay, awesome. So you have a number in mind. It's specific, it's measurable, you're tracking it. 20 to 27 isn't a crazy extreme amount of difference. So you know that it's achievable. It's relevant to your business because, you know, hey, it's an increase in contact forms and that's more leads and we want more leads. We've established that as our need. So we know it's relevant to our business. It'll help our business. It makes sense for our business. And it's time bound. We want to achieve this within 6 months. Okay. So then you're working within your marketing team or any, you know, agency or freelance vendors that you're working with. Then you're working with each of those to go, okay, this is our goal. This is what we're looking at. It's specific, it's measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Everyone can then be in agreement and be on the same page and understand what you're all working towards together. Okay. Now we'll say this. Your goal, as far as that achievable and relevant thing goes, you know, it is interrelated with your budget and your timeline, and those things are coming up. So they all work together and they all work, you know, they're interrelated. One affects the other, basically, is what I was trying to say there. So next is we have step 4, which is our criteria for marketing tactics. Okay, marketing tactics, what I mean by that is the tools in your toolbox. Okay, so digital agencies, the tools in the toolbox, the marketing tactics could be SEO, paid search, social media, paid ads and social media, reputation management, reviews, client feedback, newsletters, email, you know, social media management. I said that already. You know, different things, your analytics. Those are all the tools in your toolbox. Okay, so these different criteria that we're about to talk about, they are the things that very directly affect which tools that you can use or will use or should use in any type of digital marketing planning that you would put together. All right. First is, and very importantly, by the way, budget. That could be dollars or time, depending on your budget and depending on your in-house talent. That's going to be dollars or time. Okay. Budget. I'm going to actually slow down on this one because this is where people can get kind of defensive because you're talking about money. You know, especially on the dollar side here, we're talking about money. So first and foremost, I have to say your budget, it is what it is. And it is important. So unless you're Amazon, chances are someone has a higher budget than you, right? Amazon probably has cornered it, maybe Walmart, I don't know. But anyway, what you really need to know is, and be very honest with yourself here, is what are you able to feasibly commit to for a 6 to 12 month time period. Okay, so when we're planning our digital marketing, we're looking at 6 to 12 months at a time, usually, especially when if you're just starting out. That's what you need to consider first. So be honest with yourself, be honest with everyone involved. This is a commitment, this is money that you're setting aside and saying, I'm not going to touch this for anything but my marketing for this amount of time. Okay. But some people do get defensive because maybe they really don't know what things feasibly cost. They haven't done, they're just starting to tire kick and ask around and do the research. Maybe they really don't know what things cost yet, or they're afraid of being taken advantage of. A reputable company is not going to do that. Just consider that. What number are you comfortable committing to for that 6 to 12 month plan? I would suggest that when you're coming up with this number, that it be as educated as possible. You can start by looking at your average sale that you make in your business, whether it's through your website or in your business. Just if you have, some people have brick and mortar locations as well as online locations. Look at that, look at the average sale, look at the lifetime value of a customer. Can you get them to come back, and their repeat buying? How does that look? Be observant and watch for those things. And then also to think about the value that the increased sales can mean to your business, whether it's increased sales or an increase in the number of leads that your sales reps then have to convert those into an actual sale. Think about the value of those things. Value is really important with marketing because you don't always, see it happen instantaneously. It could happen over time, or it could be a branding issue, which isn't always a tangible thing. So keep that in mind. And then also too, how quickly do you need to achieve this goal? All right. Once again, a more aggressive timeline and a more aggressive budget is going to, will require a more aggressive budget rather. So once again, your budget and your timeline are interrelated here. So keep those things in mind, all right? If you are going to reach out to an agency, a vendor, a freelancer to help you employ tactics, SEO, PPC, social media, whatever it may be, if you're going to look to an outside party, like an agency or someone to help you, and they ask you what your budget is, once again, please be honest. The answer here is not you tell me, all right? We hear that a lot, and I don't take offense to it, but usually it's like, okay, if you say to me, you tell me, I'm going to say, all right, well, let's break this down. We've got to find this out. We've got to figure it out so I can tell you what can and cannot work for you right now. Any marketing partner will really need to know where you are now in your educated range of budget, what assets you have to work with, and then how they can bridge over that, how they can connect that to your goals, okay? Because I know that I can give you the most beautiful, aggressive, pie in the sky strategy, but if it's not right for you right now and your timeline and your budget, it's wasting everyone's time, and you're going to get frustrated. So, be honest with yourself, be honest with everyone there. We realize that not every company has these numbers, but it is well worth your time to make an educated guess here. If you need to reach out and get help, with your bookkeeper, accountant, whatever, a business coach, they can always help you walk through these things. Maybe a mentor through SCORE or some other organization. They can really, really help you there. But I suggest that you very much take this seriously because it really is a foundational piece of your plan, which is why I wanted to slow that down and give you lots of info there. Timeline, number 2, timeline. Your timeline is important because you are looking at sorry, I got distracted. We have a question come in, guys. We had a question while I was talking come in. Anyway, we had a question come in. Yay! There we go. Let me hide that. Sorry, distraction. Timeline. Okay, timeline is very important because once again, like I said, it is interrelated with your budget and your goals. You know, they're both long and short term tactics that you can employ in your marketing. Are fast results a big priority for you? Then paid search is probably the way you need to go, or you're very seasonal, or you know you've got a one-time thing that you're trying to market and promote. You know, paid search may be the best tactic for you. Can you invest in the long-term commitment and effort that organic SEO requires? And also that also delivers a better return on investment for you, but it's a long-term strategy. You start now for things that will affect you 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the road, okay? So think about that. Your timeline is going to be interrelated. It allows for you and your marketing partners to come up and formulate the right combination for your needs there, okay? Now remember, if you're very aggressive with your goals and your timeline, you have to be aggressive with your budget, okay? Always have to remind people of that. So that's part of being relevant and achievable in your thinking. But ultimately, every business's situation is unique, and the plan requires consideration for each of these things. All right. Wow, we are actually on time, y'all. I'm excited. So seriously, this never happens. Okay, technical readiness. We'll see. Technical readiness. This is you looking at your site and getting it prepared for this marketing that you're doing. Okay, you need to make sure that it is ready to go and that it is up to the task of this promotion and this planning that you're putting towards it. So you need to make sure you're ready to go. This is actually Tom's field of expertise. He is our senior SEO guy here at SEO Rocket. He does all of our audits and analysis for our flight plans, our strategies that we put together for our clients. So I am actually going to pitch this over to you, Tom, and let you get started. Let me see. I'm going to give you, it's still not letting me give you control of the mouse for some reason.
Our first technical glitch, and we're 22 minutes into it. I guess that's not too bad.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that. Last month was our maiden voyage, but here we go. We'll leave it up to GoToWebinar to give us the technical glitch. So Tom, do you want me to just pitch the screen to you? I don't know why it's not letting me do this.
If you can pitch it to, well,
I can.
Actually, let's see if I can get you to mouse control.
Mouse control to Major Tom.
Yeah, well, it will not let you do that.
So by the way, y'all, when we were practicing yesterday, we were just going through the software again to make sure it was still working as it always does. It worked. But today it's not, so that's okay. You know what, Tom, what I could do is I could just do it for you.
Nah, that's too hokey.
Oh, no, okay.
Give me control, please.
Okay.
And I will see what we can do.
All right. We're doing it. All right. You know what? It's not letting me do that either.
Okay, like I said, Angela, why don't you do it?
There's enough. Oh, you know what? I know why. Because are you logged in as me?
I don't think so.
All right, guys. Sorry, we digress. I'm just going to take it over.
Okay.
And to keep so you guys aren't waiting. So, but here we go. Technical Readiness by Tom Veltri. Please forgive our banter. Tom, way to go.
Good morning, everybody. I thank you for being here today. As Angela pointed out, I'm the SEO guy, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how the sausage is made, I guess. SEO has a tendency to be this big, mysterious entity, and nobody's quite sure what it is. But it's really kind of, I'm the guy who looks under the hood when you have a problem. And that's what happens when we do these technical audits. So my goal here today is to give you a very non-technical review of what I look for and why it's important and what you should be looking for if you want to have a successful marketing strategy. We're going to look at the platform. Does it support publishing? Is it easy to discover? Does it have speed issues? Is it mobile friendly? We're going to take a look at your competitors. It's very important. How do you stack up against your competitors? Keyword research. What are the best keywords for you? Are they realistic keywords? We'll review content strategies, a little bit about your audience. You've got some owned assets, earned assets, and paid media that you can use. These are all part of your audience. Conversions, as Angela pointed out before, you've got SMART goals that should be set up. Well, now we have to make sure that we're converting on those SMART goals. And how do we do that? Lastly, would be by measurement. How can we measure that these things are happening? Next slide, please.
Slide. Here we go.
Okay. Site platform, what to look at. From a technical standpoint, we want to know, is it up to date? Click, please. We're going to use WordPress as an example. Most of the sites we work with are built on a WordPress platform since it's one of the most popular ones out there. Very rarely when I do a site audit will I log into the back end of a WordPress site and see that everything is up to date. It's crucial that you keep your plugins up to date. It's crucial that you keep your themes up to date. Most of these things will not only be performance to give you more features, but a lot of them are security patches, and you don't want to fall behind on that. The most recent flight plan that I've done, I found a theme that was no longer supported and had been outdated for a couple of years. Now that means at some point in time, it's going to stop working with the plugins that are out there because they've fallen behind. Now, is this something? Yeah, I promise non-technical. This may be a little technical, but to my audience out there listening to this, now you may not be the person that actually does this. You may bring it back to your web developer. You may bring it back to your IT person or whoever built your website, but you should know to ask them to look at this stuff. Say, hey, when's the last time my plugins were updated? Hey, is everything up to date here? So that's something that you want to keep your eyes on for sure. Next, is it error-free? There are hundreds and hundreds of different types of errors that our audit tools can find. Some of the ones that are the most concerning and will make for a bad user experience would be broken internal links, too many redirects, images that are 404ing. It will not only hurt your user experience, but it will also hurt you in Google's rankings, because the more errors and stuff they see, the more redirections that are happening behind the scenes, it kind of dilutes the search engine value of your website. So one of the things we look at and why you should pay attention to it, make sure you don't have too many 404 errors on the site and try to eliminate unnecessary redirects if you can. Secure is the next thing. I'm sure everybody's seen the little lock that's on there now. Google has gotten very, very serious about security now. They're getting to the point now where it's actually in red, no alert you, this site is not secure, do you want to proceed? These days, I'd like to think that everybody has a secure site, but I still run across sites that are not. Not only do you want to make sure it's secure, but you want to make sure it's secure in the proper way. We've come across, again, a lot of sites that are secure, but a lot of the things within the site are not secure. So you've got mixed content. That's something that you want to probably take a look at. Is your site mobile friendly? Mercifully, most of them are now, but I'm actually working on a site now that still isn't. Google has a free test. You can do a Google search for mobile friendly test. It'll come up and you can get an idea of how your site is rendering in Google. You want your site to be mobile friendly. Several years ago, we reached the point where searches were happening on mobile than they were on desktop. And even though that may not apply to your specific situation, Google is basing its rankings on how you perform mobilely. And what that means is you may have 80% of your people who come to you on a desktop, but when Google looks to rank your site, they're going to see how you perform mobile, and they're going to base your rankings mobile and desktop based on that performance. Which brings us to our last item of fast. You want to make sure that you've got a fast speed. Google's got a site. It's Test My Site by Google, and you could do a speed test on it. And believe it or not, they want your site to be 2.5 seconds or faster. Now, the mistake people make with this is they go to that site, or they go to a website, and they type in the website, site comes up blindingly fast. Everything is good here. I don't have any problem. It's loading fast. But they're loading this on a cable connection, a fiber connection. Of course, it's going to be fast. The way Google's looking at it is they want your site to come up in 2.5 seconds on a 4G connection. Now, not too many sites can do that. One of the last sites that I tested came up 9.9. That's considered very slow. If you're slow, you're going to be losing traffic. People are not going to wait around for that, and you're going to suffer in the rankings. Next slide, please. Competitive analysis. So I'm going to tell you all a little bit of a story. There's two guys walking through the woods, and all of a sudden this big hungry bear comes out and starts chasing them. So they're running and one guy turns around to the other guy and says, "We're never going to outrun this bear." So the other guy turns around and says, "Well, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just have to outrun you." And that's sort of the way it is with your competition. You need to be very aware and cognizant of how your competition is doing so that you can be better than they are at doing it. That's basically, you're not being measured against every single site in the world. You're getting measured against the people you want to compete with. They're competing for the same keywords, they're competing for the same market share. So you need to do things. If you notice in this slide that there are a couple of different features on there, I hope you can see it because it's tiny, but there's something called authority score. And that's basically a 1 to 100 score of how your site performs on a lot of things that Google holds near and dear to their heart. If you're competing against the site, if you've got a 20 authority score and your competitor has a 50, which is much higher, you're probably not going to be able to compete for a lot of the keywords that they are. And all of these things are built around site speed, they're built around how many backlinks are coming in, they're built around how many pages you've got on the website. So one of the things we do when we do a flight plan is to ask you for 3 or 4 of your top competitors, and we will do a head-to-head analysis of these key aspects and show them to you. We will show you where they are, where you are, and where your best hope to beat them will lie. And it's very important to look at what the competitors are doing if you want to succeed. Next, please. Keywords. Keywords are always important. As I alluded to before, you may want to rank for a certain keyword, which may or may not be a good keyword. Part of what we do is keyword research to find out not only what Google thinks your site is about, what you think your site is about, whether your keywords are actually in line with what your site is showing, which we'll talk about more in content later on, but also take a look at what your competitors are doing, and more importantly, what's working for them. We have tools that will allow us to find out what's converting well for your competitors, what's getting more click-throughs, and then you match that up to what you're doing, what you want to do, what you think is relevant on your site, and see where your opportunities lie. So keyword research will take advantage of taking a look at the content on your site. We'll take a look at what keywords your competitors are ranking for. In the competitive analysis we did earlier, we'll be able to see where you stand and where they stand in relationship to trying to rank for that keyword and make recommendations for that as we go on. So ideally what you want to do, and this goes to attainable goals that Angela spoke to before, you want to make sure that if you want to embark on an SEO plan, you want to choose keywords that are going to convert for you, but you're also going to have a realistic chance of getting on that first page for. So it's that's a big part of what we do in our analysis. Site content. A lot of times, and again, we'll go back to many times, I've had people ask me, hey, can you submit this keyword to Google for me? I want to rank for this keyword. Submit it to Google. Well, that's not the way it works. You don't submit keywords to Google. Google crawls content on your site, and they decide what's relevant for that keyword, what's relevant for a phrase, and what's not relevant for that phrase. So it's not a matter of submitting the keyword. If the keyword is so important to you that you think you want to rank for it, and if it's been shown to be a good traffic generating keyword, you need to build content around that. Quite often in those scenarios where somebody wanted me to submit a keyword, that keyword was very rarely, or sometimes not at all, even on the site. So if that phrase isn't important enough to put on your site, then either your site is lacking and you need to change that, or the keyword really isn't a good keyword for you. So sitting back and analyzing the content on your site, is it compelling? Is it the right content that you want to be putting out there? Are you sending the right kind of message? Is it compelling? These days, you really want it to be shareable too, because ideally what you want is somebody to find a piece of content that they find so valuable and so intriguing that they want to share it with other people, because that's going to help you win that battle of getting all your I's dotted and T's crossed so you can compete with some of your larger competitors. Can you publish content to your own site? Again, most people have WordPress sites. Makes it very easy to add pages and blog posts, but are you doing it? A lot of times people will have a blog on their site when I'm doing an analysis, and I'll see that the last time somebody put a post up was 2.5 years ago. Sometimes old content is more harmful than no content, because Google also looks at things like, how often your site has been being updated. So it's very important to get your content strategy built around that solid keyword strategy, and that'll put you on a path to success. Now we got to speak about the audience. You can build visibility to your site through various different ways. There are owned resources, your site, email, social media. These are things that are really in your control to impact. There's earned, basically links coming in from other people that have found something valuable and want to share it. PR, if news release, if you've done something that's newsworthy and somebody is going to put you in there for it. And then there's paid, stuff that will get you there quicker. You can do pay-per-click, offline advertising, stuff that you're actually paying to get. Now, when you're owned assets, again, one thing builds upon another. So if you've got a good keyword plan, if you're building up the content on your site, well, then the site should now be a very important lead generating tool for you in building up its audience. You probably want to support that with email, but you definitely want to support it with social media. Because before, when I mentioned that ideally you want people to share content on your site, if you build it on your site and you put content on there, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you want to, if you write a blog post that's very topical to something that is happening in the industry that you're in. Putting it on a blog is great. Google will find it. You may get ranked well for it, but it's so much more effective if you can promote that through your social media and take advantage of that. Then other people will share it, which starts to build into that second category of links. You may get somebody pick it up and get some like real press on it if it's really informative, but at the least you may get some people linking to it. And this is all going to help you succeed in building that site up and getting stronger to be able to compete with your competitors. If you're in a hurry for it, there's always paid search. You can start a paid campaign and literally get on the map with some of those keywords in about a week. But the one thing to remember about that is while you may not have to do all the roll up your sleeves work that's involved with building up the content and getting everything corrected on your site, doing the legwork for it will ultimately reap longer rewards for you and probably be more cost effective in the long term. Because while paid search can get you on the map immediately, as soon as you stop paying for it, the spigot gets turned off. And you may still be left with a site that needs keyword adjustment, technical adjustment, new content. So all you've really done is delayed. So a good strategy generally would be, if you cannot wait the time it takes to do things to build up your foundation, use paid to bridge the gap, but continue to do what you need to do to succeed with the site. Now, conversions. So I've got you to do all this work that you really don't want to do, and you didn't think I was going to tell you to do at the beginning of this conversation, but you've done it. So what should we see? Conversions. Ideally, you want to address the needs of your market. You want to create assets and resources and journeys that drive profitable customer action on this site. You've got great content now. People are paying attention to it. It's interesting. You've piqued their interest, so they've got the desire now to do some sort of an interaction with you. You're halfway there. Now comes to the point of the action. You must make clear calls to action on your site. Once you've got that person there, you have to make it very easy for them to understand what it is you expect them to do. If it's a site where you're selling something, well, that's usually a little more obvious because you're going to have a buy now button or something like that. But you'd be surprised again how many sites, their main goal is to get the phone to ring, but you have to go searching for the phone number. You have to go to like a contact page. Well, that phone number should be on every single page of the site. Think about it if you're a restaurant and you want somebody to make a reservation for you. Well, the chances are they're going to be on a mobile device. So if they look you up, they find your site, and they can't find that phone number immediately. It's not like present right on that page. They got to dig around through the contact form to find it. Well, they're eating at the restaurant next door then, because they're not going to deal with that. They want instant satisfaction. So you really need to work on your calls to action to get the person to do what you want them to do. If you want them to fill out a form, make that form visible on the page. Don't make them go searching for it. You want to have all that stuff visible. Make it as easy as possible. Now, of course, how do we know this is working? Well, you need to measure it. A wise person once said, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So now you've done all these things. You've got your goals set up. You've made the calls to action very clear. How do we know any of this is working? How do we know what's driving the traffic? Well, most sites these days use Google Analytics. It's a free tool. It's a great tool. It's a daunting tool to a lot of people, which is why you generally want to find out just the specific things that are germane to you and work with that. But you want to have Google Analytics on your site. You definitely want to have goals set up, because there are very easy ways in analytics to be able to track whether a phone number has been clicked on, whether a form has been filled out. And the reason you want to do that is you could now tie it back to looking in analytics to see what made that happen. Did that person come to you from an email campaign you sent out? Did they come to you from Facebook and click over from there? Did they come over from the search engine? What page did they land on? This page is converting. This page isn't converting. Do I need to do something to this other page to make it convert as well as the other one? These are all things that you can get within Google Analytics. So you need to sign up for Google Analytics. You need to make sure it's on your site. You may need to make sure it's configured correctly. And you need to make sure that you've got goals set up and set up some easy KPIs that you can look at. Google will allow you to construct your own dashboard, so you can put stuff that you're interested in instead of having to wade through pages and pages of data that can be daunting sometimes. What we do for our clients is we actually talk to them during our engagement and generate reports from a third-party tool to give them information that they're interested in. So it doesn't, they put it in front of them and make it easy for them to digest, to see what's working and what's not working. And that's the end of my time here, and I'm going to pass it back to Angela.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Tom.
You're welcome.
Great job. You have earned your whiskey and cigar on the patio time tonight.
Amen.
I second that. Okay. So we've talked about a lot of different things, a lot of different pieces to the puzzle, right? And, we're at the point now where we need to put all these elements to work, all those questions that you've asked yourself and asked your department heads and such, all the stakeholders that are surely still involved at this point, right? This is the time we put it all together and say, okay, what does this mean? Let's evaluate our strengths, our weaknesses, our needs, our goals, budget, timeline. All these things now come together. Think about them to plan your option here. So just, I talked earlier about the tools in the toolbox for your digital marketing, since that's what we're talking about today. There are different ones. So let's just go through a couple of examples, since we're actually doing really well on time, which I'm shocked about and so excited about. We tend to pack a lot of information in here because we want you guys to have very actionable, rich information. So yay us, and yay for you too. If you're working on a short timeline, this is your time to work on reporting. If you're a local business, your Google My Business page is getting that completely fleshed out and accurate. And, that's where your reviews come in. That's where the Google reviews, which are hugely popular and used by viewers all the time. Studies are showing that Google My Business reviews are your Google reviews are highly rated by both Google and by searchers who are maybe vetting you or looking for, a business that offers your product or service. They value those highly. So those are very important. I suggest that you value them highly as well. Paid search. Obviously you can do paid search in social media. You can do paid search in Google. Being different places, we do it all. It depends on what your needs are and kind of what your target audience looks like. Bing tends to skew a little bit older audience. Social media, you have targeting by, vicinity, as well as interest and groups they're following and pages they're following and things like that. So it's a pretty fabulous, awesome targeting there. And then Google, obviously it's a much bigger, wider data range with 80%, I think, of people now using Google. So, you have a great data range. It's a really good place to start. And, you can do it yourself through Google Express, which we don't always recommend because it doesn't give you the targeting that Google Ads itself does. So weigh those things out. Obviously, your social media. That's something where if you have an internal person who can help you with that, or even an external person that you're using to do this for you, or you're both working together on that. Those are short timeline things that you can work on and get up and running, this week. Your email, any newsletters that you're doing, any email marketing, you can do that on the fly as needed. So short timeline. That's a fantastic tool for you to have in your toolbox. Long term, technical repair on your site. Tom has done a fantastic job of explaining these things. There are a lot of things that you need to do for your site technically to have it ready for SEO, ready for your reporting, ready for user experience on your site, so that those who do come to you will have a great time there. They'll be able to find what they need to find and convert more easily. That's something that takes a concentrated effort and also is ongoing as you add things to your site. So keep that in mind. SEO, like I said, that's a long-term strategy. Involves a lot of organic on-site work, off-site work, content work. It is semi-labor intensive and expertise intensive, but it also has a fantastic, very strong return on investment, and it's long-term and it has longevity because of that work that's being done, that foundation that's being laid, for your site. Also, to remember that Google tends to change things with their algorithms or what they're looking for, what they need, how they're responding to the demands of consumers and searchers. And so as they change often and at whim to sometimes make us crazy, you in your SEO campaign, you have to change along with that and address those things also. So that is what makes it a long-term strategy there. Paid search.
Angela, this would probably be a good time to bring up the fact that Google, generally speaking, does not announce ahead of time what they're going to do.
Right.
But they have come up with their core metrics that they're going to be looking at now. And as I alluded to before, guess what? They're all based on speed, mobile, and user experience. So again, you guys out there have a heads up as far as your long-term SEO goes, that you need to get your site under 2.5 seconds loading and have a good user experience, because these are going to be crucial elements of the core metrics that they announced they're going to start looking at in 2021.
Right. Yeah, they rarely say, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is what we need you to do in response. And so when they do, this is your time to absolutely 100% pay attention to that and react accordingly. Because, hey, when Google speaks, we should all be listening as marketers. Right. So also too, PPC, long and short term reviews, that's a long term and a short term thing. It's an ongoing thing for you. Content creation, same thing, working with your writers, that you have your trusted writers, let them really get to know your business, and work alongside them, listen to what they have to say. A lot of times we work with writers on with our keyword research and looking at the traffic, the user journeys of traffic on your site to see what content people are actually looking for that are applicable to your business and your products and services, what you need to have there. Search engines, I can tell you right now, whether you're doing paid or organic work to get, to promote yourself there, they are looking a lot at content. They want to make sure that what you are putting out there is useful and unique and is applicable to your business. So I would take that seriously. I would consider it to be an ongoing thing, not a once a year situation. Adding what we call cornerstone content, which is like evergreen content to your site. I would do that regularly. Blogs, you know, if you have new things, it could be news, it could be an announcement, like we announce our webinars on the site there on our blog all the time. You know, regardless of what it is, it could be a new something new happening in your industry, or you know, just some thoughts on different things happening in your industry or products or services. All those things, even though they may seem light, it's great information for your users to have. It helps you with visibility, and it helps you establish yourself as an expert in your industry. So don't take them lightly. Continue to do those things on an ongoing basis. You know, the search engines really see that and love it and appreciate it. So I can't speak highly of that enough. They all work together. Once again, they all work together. So, and then as we're putting all these elements to work, what we're trying to do here is drive our strategy towards, once again, these SMART goals. Remember, being #1 in Google is awesome, but that's really an ego thing, okay? These SMART goals and everything that we're driving towards needs to be applicable to your business. You know, like I said, phone calls, contact form fill outs, actual sales if you're e-com, all those things are measurable and they make an impact on your business. So don't make it about ego, make it about the end result here, all right? When you're putting these pieces together and you're tracking and measuring everything, that's what you as an owner or any executive or you as a marketing manager want to see anyway, ultimately, are those results. So #1 in Google, fantastic, but is it getting you the actual results you're looking for? You need to go further and ask that next question, okay? We actually are at a great, we have finished, guys, so I hope that everything that we have provided here for you today, all the information that we've given to you has been actionable and that you've learned something. This is now your opportunity to go out and go forth and conquer and put all these things together. I wish you all the very best, and I hope that you can use these and putting this information and putting your strategies together. Please reach out to me. I'm Angela at SEO Rocket. I'm one of the owners here of SEO Rocket and co-founders. I would be happy to help you. Please feel free to reach out by email. You can find us through the website, SEOrocket.com. I will let you know this, we have another webinar coming up in September, the end of September the 30th, so please join us next month for that. That one will be on local SEO strategy, whether you're single or multi-location business. We'll talk about that. Zane Tuck, our local SEO specialist, will be joining us next month for that and walking us all the things that he looks for and what he does with all of our local and multi-location local SEO clients. We'll talk about the things that are prioritized, that we prioritize there that you need to look at and think about if this applies to your business. So please join us for that. You can find information on that webinar as well as this one at SEOrocket.com. We post everything on our blog. We'll actually, if you want a refresher, we will repost this blog, this webinar rather, on our blog. We should have it up by Friday or Monday. You'll see the video. And if you need a refresher, you want to share it with your friends, you know, please do. Then you can see it there then as well on our site and our blog. We also mentioned we put all of our webinar information there. So if you're looking for some great webinars, you can see them there as well, the info on that on the homepage and on the blog. We also post it in our social media, and on our site you can sign up for our newsletter, and the newsletter will send you updates on all of our upcoming webinars as they are announced. So thank you so much.
Angela, did you say we had a question?
Oh, we did have a question. Somebody asked if I'd ever worked with a business coach. Yeah. So, and the answer there is yes, I have, and I highly recommend it.
Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. Any other questions? We had some come up in our social media. Let's see. Just about, you know, let's see. I had notes here. How long do these things take? And I think we probably, we have short-term ones and long-term ones. So, yeah, it just depends on the tactic, different things. Someone had asked about,
Depends on competitive analysis. A lot of times will reveal that if you've got a 20-page site with 10 links coming into it, you want to compete with a 2,000-page site with 1,200 links coming into it. It's going to take longer than if you've got a little bit of a sounder foundation. So it really depends on your specific circumstance and how willing you are to do the work that needs to be done to get there, because it can vary. I mean, you should start seeing results, even with organic, start seeing some results in 3, 4 months, and go up from there. But again, it's a process that's going to evolve over time and really depends on where you stand in relationship to your competition. That's going to dictate, in your specific case, how long it's going to take.
right, right. We did have one more question that just came in while you're talking, Tom, and that was about budgeting. Scott asked, he said, he's working on a budget. Can we help him with that? So some quick tips there, once again, is, I would say look at your profit and loss statement every month. See, where you are as far as, income and outcome. What your expenses are and your income, and what you can dedicate every month to your marketing, and it not, and it makes sense for your business. So I would start there. I would think about the value that any sale or lead has for you, whether it's short-term and long-term, of one purchase, and the lifetime value of that customer. I would think of that. But because you need to know, once you commit to these strategies, whether it's short-term or long-term, you really need to stick with them and have that consistency, especially if you're going for any kind of like organic SEO work. You're definitely going to have to be consistent with those things. So just know that it needs to be something that you can commit to and dedicate. So break it down that way. When I'm on calls with clients, I will just kind of say, all right, what can we do? How does this range sound to you? Are you 5,000 to 10,000 a month? Are you 1,000 to 2,000 a month? Are you 500 a month? Like, where are we? So we know what we have to work with, and how I can help you or not. Whether I can't help you now, maybe I can help you later. So as things build. So just ask yourself those questions. What is comfortable and what are the value of those things? And I would always just suggest starting there.
A flight plan wouldn't hurt either.
What?
A flight plan wouldn't hurt either.
Right.
That'll give you a real good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We do those flight plans all the time. And they, really help people see what their strengths and weaknesses are and where they need to apply those funds to have them used the most efficiently and get the best return on your marketing tactics that way. So yeah, we can always suggest that. If you want any refreshers on what we talked about today, I would suggest going to our SEORocket.com blog and see the webinar again. There's a page on our site called Working With Us that walks through a lot of this too, that will give you a nice refresher and guideline of the kind of questions we ask. Many of those are included in our talk today. So do that. You can always reach out to Tom or I also. So we are right at 12:01, guys. So thank you so much once again for joining us. Go forth and conquer. We hope to see you again in September. And I guess it's time for lunch. So
see you next time, everybody.
Bye. See you next time. Thank you. All right.